Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Uh, okay. You have sent a question, right?
Yes, I did.
The interior of a quadrilateral is bounded by the graphs of this and this. So,
Yeah, it actually was from last year's test.
Hmm.
I um, I was going through my old test to like these
Hmm.
couple days ago, but I'm just thought out in the question because I was having trouble with it still. So
By
I
the
didn't get
graph.
the solution.
What?
I didn't get the solution, and a lot of the solutions were by like just substituting 1 and 2 and 3,
Hmm.
and because 2 actually worked for A in the place, so I wanted like a good solution. So
Hmm. Okay. And the other is ax minus y whole square is equal to a square, where a is a positive real number.
mhm.
A belongs to positive real. Okay. Interior of a quadrilateral is bounded by the graphs of this and this. Now you have to find area of the region. Okay, area of this region which is bounded by the graphs of this and this. So first we have to draw the graph of this. So if you think about it, uh, this can be written like this, right? X plus ay whole square minus 4a square is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So if you factorize it, you will get x plus ay minus 2a and x plus ay plus 2a is equal to 0, correct?
Yeah.
And here you will get ax minus y minus a and ax minus y plus a is equal to 0.
Yes.
So you're getting these are all individually, these are all 1 degree equations in x and y. So these are all straight lines, right?
Right.
So if we draw the figure, we'll get 4 straight lines, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And 4 straight lines, hopefully they will make a quadrilateral or something. So we'll see. Uh, Slope of these lines, this line slope, if you think about it, is minus 1 by a, right?
Yeah.
And this line slope is also same. It's two parallel lines here, right?
Yeah.
Slope is
And
same.
the slope of the other two lines are A.
Perpendicular. Slope is a here.
Yeah.
Slope is a here and slope is minus 1 by a here, means this line is perpendicular to this line and this line. And same goes
It's
for this
that means
also.
that it forms a rectangle.
Hmm. So we can now start drawing the figure. So I'll just rub off this part and I will try to draw the figure now. So okay. So if you have a situation like this, let's try to draw the figure for this. This is looking like a slope is negative, so it's a falling graph, right?
Yeah.
And if you put 1 point, let's say x is 0, right? Then you get y
Mhm.
is equal to 2a by a, which is 2, right?
Yes.
So this is 0 comma 2 is a point on it, right?
Yeah.
And when y is 0, x is equal to 2a, right? So
Yeah.
so 2a comma 0 is also a point on it, right? So
Yeah.
this line looks like this, correct?
Yeah.
This is my first line. And this line will look like it's also parallel, right? This line will be parallel to this line, no?
Yeah.
Because slope is same, right? So
Yeah.
let's see 1 point on it. If x is 0, y is equal to minus 2, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, x is 0, y is minus 2, so it will be somewhere here, 0 comma minus 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when y is 0, you'll get x is minus 2a, right? See?
Yeah.
So you'll get a line like this, which is parallel, right? This is minus 2a comma 0, right?
Yeah.
These two lines are parallel to each other, and we have drawn the graph. Now we'll draw the graph of this one. So slope is a. If you put x is equal to 0, you get y is equal to minus a, right?
Yeah.
So x is equal to 0, y is equal to minus a. So minus a will be midpoint of this somewhere here. And when y is 0, x is equal to c1, right? When y is
Again, the
0,
midpoint.
again somewhere here. And this line is going like this. And we know that the angle here is 90 and 90, right?
Yeah.
Because we know that the slopes are perpendicular slopes. And similarly, if we draw this one,
We get one and -1 as for the y-intercept and 1 of a for the x-intercept.
when x is 0, you get y is a, right?
Yeah.
So you get this one. Wait, I have made a mistake here somewhere. X is 0. Y is
It's negative.
Here it was when x was 0, y was negative a. Okay, I think I have made a mistake. This was the line that this one, right?
Yes.
And this was this line, I think, like this, right? Because when y is 0, you get x is equal to -1. So this should be this line. No? This is L3, this one, -1 here. And this one is 1 comma 0, right?
Yeah.
And this is minus a, 0 comma minus a, and this is 0 comma a, right?
Yeah.
So now what we are getting is we are getting a rectangle, right? This is the graph of the 4 lines, and we are getting some sort of a rectangle. Now the question is like what he means by the statement. He's saying interior of a quadrilateral is bounded by the graphs of this and this. What is the area of this region? Basically, he wants area of this region in terms of a valid for all a greater than 0. Interior of a quadrilateral. I mean, we get a quadrilateral, but does he mean the whole rectangle area or does he mean something else is my doubt?
The whole rectangle area. So
Okay.
the area of the rectangle, basically.
That is not hard to find because we can easily find out these points, right?
Yeah.
We can find out these points, no issues. We have to just intersect lines, right? So,
yeah.
Or you can just find distance between these two, actually, right? These two parallel lines.
Yeah.
Distance between these two parallel lines is actually 2a by root over a square plus 1. I will tell you how it came. Like whenever you have two parallel lines, right? Ax plus by plus c is equal to c1 is equal to 0. Another line will be ax plus by plus c2 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
The distance between them will be c1 minus c2 mod by root over a square plus b square. Okay.
Okay.
This formula we will see when we do SL learning. So,
well, that 2a by root a square plus 1 thing is very close to the answer if you saw the option choices.
Yeah. Forget about the answer. This is what is coming right now, right? So,
yeah.
Find the distance between these two parallel lines, a minus minus a by root over a square plus 1 square, right?
Yeah.
This is a formula that we will see in our theory like soon. Like in SL we will learn this. So you can already write it down, distance between two parallel lines. So that distance will give you one side, right?
Yeah.
And we also know that these two are also parallel, right? So that will, this distance also we can find out, no? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that will be 2a minus 2a, c1 minus c2, so plus 4a by root over again a square plus 1, right?
Yeah.
So that will be 4a by root over a square plus 1, because see the coefficients are 1 and a here also. So it will be root over a square plus 1. So the answer will be 8a square by a square plus 1. When you multiply this, because you have to multiply length into breadth, right?
Yeah.
This will be the answer. Right?
Yeah, I think that's the correct answer.
So you don't have to do any a is equal to 1 or anything. It's a simple enough question. You just have to think about what kind of figure it will be. So
Yeah.
once you factorize it, you're getting two different line equations, and you just draw those lines like this and like this. Once you draw the lines, you have to realize that it's a rectangle, and you just have to do length into breadth, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So that is what we do here. Okay, so basically, you know a little bit about straight lines, right?
Yeah.
So what we will do is we'll discuss that, assuming you know a little bit, and we'll add up to whatever you know. Like once you we'll basically sort of try to cover the theory of SL Loney, coordinate geometry books, straight lines, pair of straight lines, circles. These things are first, and after that we'll go to parabola, ellipse, and stuff. So let's discuss straight lines theory then. Okay. Is there
Okay,
any
in
other
that
problem?
distance between parallel line thing, right?
Hmm.
A and B will always be equal in both equations.
See, A and B you can always make equal because it's parallel.
Oh yeah.
You have to change your C1 and C2, but like parallel lines will look like this, no? X plus 2y plus 5 is equal to 0. It could be 2x plus 4y plus 7 is equal to 0. But then you can divide by 2 and make it x plus 2y plus 7 by 2 is equal to 0, no?
Okay.
Like actually, for it to be parallel, this slope minus 1 by 2 should be equal to minus 2 by 4, right?
Yeah.
So the ratio of the coefficients has to be same anyway for it to be parallel, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes the equations will not be given in such a way that A and B are same, but then what you do is divide to make it same, right?
Yes.
The formula is valid only when you make A and B same. C1 and C2 obviously have to be different, otherwise they will be the same line, right?
Yeah.
So distance between two parallel lines, if you have made the line equations look like this, will be mod of C1 minus C2 by root over A square plus B square.
B square. Yeah.
So you can check that very easily. Like we can draw two parallel lines between which we already know the distance, and we'll see if the formula works or not. So
Yeah.
we can say that we have one line like this, y is equal to x, right? And another line like this. This line is it passes through minus 1 comma 0. So this line is y. Oh, it passes through this, and this is 0 comma 1. So it is y is equal to x plus 1, right? So notice that the slope is 1 both cases, right?
Yeah.
1 1, right? Both cases have same slope, so it is parallel definitely, because this is 45 and this is also 45, right?
Yes.
Now I want to find out distance between the parallel lines, right? So distance between the parallel lines should be the length of the perpendicular between them, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So if you do the length of the perpendicular between them, notice that by geometry you can find the length of the perpendicular, because we know that this is 45 and this distance is 1, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So length of the perpendicular should be 1 sine 45, right? So 1 by root 2, right?
Yeah.
So now we will do it by the other method. Now we'll check the formula. Now we already know it will be 1 by root 2, right?
Yeah.
So now check the formula. You have C1 is equal to minus 1, C2 is equal to 0, and A and B are 1 and minus 1, right?
Yeah.
You get mod C1 minus C2 by root over 1 square plus 1 square, right? So
Yes.
it will be 1 by root 2, right?
Yeah.
So we have confirmed it from two different methods. We have seen here geometrically it makes sense, and anyway, formula is also correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start off with the straight lines theory. Make notes about this part because I think that these types of questions are coming in your exams frequently.
Okay.
So, uh, so first of all, distance formula and section formula, you know those two things, right?
Yes.
Distance formula between any 2 points will be x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square root, right?
Root. Yeah. Hold on.
Section formula between any 2 points. Basically, I'm trying to find another point which divides 2 points in a particular ratio.
Oh, you mean midpoint formula?
No, section formula doesn't have to be midpoint. It has to be any section. Like it could be 1,3 ratio. Like if this is P and this is Q, I want to find R, which divides the line joining PQ in the ratio 1:3.
Okay.
Have you seen this ever?
Mm,
No.
yeah, actually, didn't. I mean, I've seen midpoint format, and I've seen like maybe wait, like thing like 1 to 3, 1 to 4. I haven't seen the formula specifically.
Okay, so think about it. If it is like this, and you want to find the point which is in the ratio m:n, right?
Yeah.
Like this is R. R divides the line segment PQ in the ratio m:n. Okay, so
Mm,
I want to find out R's coordinates. Okay, so
yeah.
R's coordinate will be, you will do m times x2 plus n times x1 by m plus n, comma m times y2 plus n times y1 by m plus n. So why are we doing that? You will realize that if I draw a parallel line like this and a line like this, you can say that this triangle is similar to the big triangle, right?
Yeah.
And you can easily find out this ratio. So this is parallel, no? So this parallel line will cut this also in n by m ratio, right?
Yeah.
Like think of Thales theorem, right? Like if there's a
Yeah.
line parallel to the base, then it cuts both the sides in the same ratio, right?
Yeah.
So you can very quickly now figure out that if this height was y2 and this height was y1, right?
Yeah.
Then what is this distance? This distance was y2 minus y1,
Yeah.
and that distance is being divided in the ratio n by m, right?
Yeah.
So your level for R, your R level will be R's y coordinate should be equal to y1 plus m by m plus n multiplied by y2 minus y1, right?
Yeah.
Basically, what fraction of the total height, right, that you have to go up, right?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is the total height that you have to go up, and you are going only some fraction of it, right?
Yeah.
So now when you put it in, you'll get my1 plus ny1 plus my2 minus my1 by m plus n, right?
Yeah.
So my1 gets cancelled and you get my2 plus ny1 by m plus n,
Yeah.
which is what I had written earlier, right?
Yeah.
So in a similar way, you can also say this much is x1 and this much is x2. So you can find what is the x here, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have drawn a parallel line like this and say, now this line is parallel to this base and it will divide this in the ratio m:n, right?
Yes.
So by simple Thales theorem and similarity, you will be able to prove this. So now we'll write it properly. Like if there is any 2 points, P and Q, which is x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2, then you can find any point R which divides this in m:n ratio. This much is n and this is your R. Okay, and when you do this division, you can find this x comma y by doing m times x2 plus n times x1 by m plus n, comma m times y2 plus n times y1 by m plus n. So this multiplies with this coordinate, this multiplies with this coordinate, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember this is very important, because many times you will have to find things like centroid divides the median in 2:1 ratio, right?
Yeah.
So if you know this one vertex here and you know the endpoint of the median here, then you can find centroid if you know how to divide it in 2:1 ratio, right?
Yes.
So things like that, occasions like that, you will need to use the fact that you know section formula, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now check if m is equal to n is equal to 1, right? What happens then? Then that means it is a midpoint, right? Then
Yeah, and the midpoint formula is just x2 plus x1 by 2.
so if m is
And
equal to n, it's coming, right?
yeah.
It's becoming midpoint formula, right?
Yeah.
Then the next thing is, if I have P and Q, I have to find a point R here. This is called external division. External division. What we know right now is P is x1, y1, and Q is x2, y2, and PR is equal to M and QR is equal to N. So now you have to find XY. Okay. So basically what we know is PR by QR is equal to M by N. But now the point R is not inside, it is outside, right? So this is called external division formula. It is just a extension of your section formula that we just now learned. So try this, try to figure out this R.
That's m. Well, the distance, like the ratio between P and Q is m minus n.
P and Q is M minus N. Yeah, this is M minus N.
And so then you can just apply the like section formula. N x no wait.
Yeah.
M minus n x times x
Mhm.
plus n x1
By
over m.
is equal to x2.
Yeah.
Right. So that is correct.
Yeah,
That is
but
how,
the denominator is just m.
yeah, it is because it's M minus N plus N.
Yeah.
So now you will get M minus N x is equal to mx2 minus nx1, right? So x is coming mx2 minus nx1 by m minus n, right?
Yeah.
So m times x2 and n times x1, but subtraction this time. You don't have to remember it. You can always do section formula normally and get it like this, right? So your external division formula becomes mx2 minus nx1 by m minus n, comma my2 minus ny1 by m minus n. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we know section formula. Then the second thing to think about is what is slope of a line. So slope of a line is something that you probably already know. Slope of the line is the angle that it makes with the positive x-axis, right?
Yeah.
Positive x-axis direction, this angle is theta, then slope m is equal to tan theta, which can also be written as if you take 2 points, what is the rise by run, right?
Yeah.
What is this y2 minus y1 by what is this x2 minus x1, right? So
Yeah.
slope can be written as this, correct?
Yes.
So slope of a straight line is always constant, obviously, because if it is not constant, then the straight line is not a straight line, it's a curve, right?
Yeah.
Because think about a curve, typical curves like circles and all, you will see that the slope is constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
So if the slope starts changing, it becomes a curve. It's a straight line, so slope is constant, right? Now, the third thing is, what is the condition for 3 points to be collinear? Like suppose you're given 3 points, P, Q, and R. What can you say when P, Q, and R are collinear? What can you say about them? Collinear means they lie on the same line.
Right.
Lie on the same line. So you can say collinearity in multiple ways. First thing you can say is, obviously, slope of PQ should be slope of QR, right?
Yes.
If it is the same line, this slope and this slope should be equal, right?
Yes.
So you can say x2, slope of PQ will be y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1 should be equal to y3 minus y2 by x3 minus x2, right?
Yes.
Also, you could have equated it to slope of RT, right?
Yeah.
So that is one way. The other way is, you can also say distance of PQ plus distance of QR should be equal to distance of PR, right?
Yes.
If you know the order of PQR, only then you can write it like this. If you don't know which order they are in on the line, then obviously this will be wrong, right?
Yeah.
So the best way to do this is to write the slope equation. Okay. So slopes are same, then the points are collinear, correct?
Yeah.
Then what we will do is, we will say equation of a straight line in various forms. Straight line in several different forms, we'll see various forms. Why? Because sometimes knowing all of these different forms becomes useful, because it helps you do the questions faster. Like if you use the correct equation in the correct form, then it will be faster. So first thing we will see is called the slope intercept form. Slope intercept form is something that you have already seen, I think. It is y is equal to mx plus c.
Yes.
One
I've seen that
second,
all
hold
the
on.
time. See you in mute.
Just hold on for a minute. No, there's some problem. 2 minutes. Just give me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Slope intercept form, right? So this, you know, m is the slope and c is the y-intercept, right?
Yeah.
So by y-intercept, I mean the by the meaning of intercept, we refer to like where is it cutting the y-axis, this distance. This is y-intercept. Okay, and by if it cuts the x-axis here, then this distance is called the x-intercept. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you find the y-intercept?
Yeah.
By putting x is equal to 0. Put x is equal to 0 in the equation, you will realize
And then
that,
you find that y is equal to c.
so that is the y-intercept. And if you put y is equal to 0, then you will find the point where it cuts the x-axis, and that will be giving you the x-intercept, right? Correct.
Right.
So this is slope-intercept form. Then there is point-slope form. Point-slope form means you know one point on the line. One point on the line is known, and slope is known. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can write the equation in a different way. Then we can say, let's say the point that is known is x1 comma y1.
Yeah.
Let's say the point that is known is x1 comma y1. Let's say the slope that is known is m. So how do I find the equation of the line here? You can say that if the line is like this and the point is x1 comma y1 and slope is known as m, then a random point on the line p x comma y, right? Correct. You can
Yes.
always say that the slope between these two must be equal to m, no?
Yeah.
So we can say y minus y1 by x minus x1 is equal to m, right?
Yeah.
Because this is an arbitrary point on the line. We will find y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And that is the point slope form equation. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the third one is 2-point form. 2-point form means we know 2 points on the line, and you have to find equation. 2 points on the line are known, so equation will obviously be, we can use point slope form again to get this equation, because from the 2 points I can find out the slope, right?
Yes.
So let's say you are given 2 points. I will find first the slope, and then I know 2 points and the slope, right? So I'll use point slope form now. I can write this as m x minus x1, where m is this thing, right?
Yes.
You could also have done y minus y2 is equal to m x minus x2. It will always give the same equation, whichever point you use. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there is an important form called the intercept form of the line equation. Intercept form of the line. So suppose somebody gave you x-intercept was a, y-intercept was b. Okay.
Yeah.
X-intercept and y-intercept is given to you, and you have to find equation of the line. How will you do it? Equation of the line you have to find.
The intercept from the line.
Basically, forget about the name. Just think about, you know, the x-intercept and y-intercept. Okay.
Yeah. So you need to make an OS at start. And substitute it inside. It's
Correct. So think about geometrically what it means to know the x-intercept. If it is a, that means we know where it cuts the x-axis, right?
yeah.
A comma 0, right?
Yeah.
And y-intercept means you know where it cuts the y-axis, 0 comma b, right?
Yes.
And now you have 2 points, no? You know one point is 0 comma b and one point is a comma 0 on the line, right?
Yes.
So by 2-point form, now we can do it. let's find the slope between these two. Slope will be 0 minus b by a minus 0, or basically minus b by a, right?
Yeah.
So equation of the line will be y minus, let's pick this point, y minus b is equal to minus b by a slope into x minus 0, right?
Yeah.
So you'll get y minus b is equal to minus bx by a. So it will be ay minus ab is equal to minus bx. So it will be ay plus bx is equal to ab, right?
Yeah.
And then divide by ab on both sides. You'll get y by b plus x by a is equal to 1.
Yes.
So this is a very nice equation. If you know the x-intercept and y-intercept, it is just this. X by x-intercept plus y by y-intercept is equal to 1.
Yeah.
So this is called the intercept form of a line, where you know the length of the x-intercept and the y-intercept, right?
Yeah.
Now, suppose you are given this situation. You are given a random line, line L, and somebody told you what is the length of the perpendicular from the origin to the line. That length is p and this angle is alpha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They have not given you any other information. They have just given you origin, from the origin, the length of the perpendicular to the line is p and the angle that it makes with x-axis is alpha. You have to find equation of line.
Yeah.
Think about it then.
Well, P is perpendicular. Well, so what form do you want it in?
What form?
What like type? Like mx plus b, ax plus
Any
by
type.
plus c, which one?
Any type you can use, whatever, as long as it is correct.
Okay. So P is perpendicular to B, so they would have opposite like slopes.
Just think about it, try it yourself. Any ideas? The best way here would be to find this intercept and this intercept, and then use intercept form.
Well, you could use. You said something earlier about tan Q.
Huh?
You said to me about tan A being related to the intercept. I mean alpha, not Q. Sorry.
Intercept equation. Oh, what we know right now is just this length of perpendicular and the angle that it makes. I said something
Yeah.
about tan alpha being equal to slope. No?
Oh, slope. Yeah.
Like you know that, right? Slope of a line is the tan theta of this.
Yeah, it is. I know that.
But that
I
is
guess.
not relevant here so much. I mean, it is relevant, but it will be hard to do if you do that because you will know this is alpha. You know slope of this line, so you can say slope of this line from there. But I would not recommend it. The easiest way to do it is intercept form, where what you figure out is what is this length, right?
Yeah.
You can say that cos alpha is equal to this length a, let's say a by base by hypotenuse, so it will be p by a, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So therefore
Yes.
a is equal to p by cos alpha, and if we call this as b, then this angle is 90 minus alpha, this angle is alpha, right? So
Yes.
we can say again sine alpha is equal to p by b, right?
Yeah.
So therefore b is equal to p by sine alpha, right?
Yeah.
So this is my y-intercept and this is my x-intercept. So my equation should be x by a plus y by b is equal to 1, right?
Yeah.
Using the previous form. So if I write the equation like this, I get x by p by cos alpha plus y by p by sine alpha is equal to 1, right?
Yes.
So that gives me the equation x cos alpha plus y sine alpha is equal to p, right?
Yes.
So this is a form that is sometimes useful. We will use it uh, uh, to get the distance of a point to a straight line. So remember that we'll use it once later to derive something important. But right now, just realize what the form looks like. It is like x cos alpha plus y sin alpha is equal to p. Here, p means length of perpendicular from origin to the line, and alpha means the angle that the perpendicular makes with x-axis, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So just write it down and remember that we will be using this in some situations in the future. So, okay. And also the derivation, how we got it, that should also be obvious. You have written everything, no?
I'm just giving a minute.
Okay.
So intercept form is basically x by a plus y by b is equal to 1, right?
Hmm. Tell me when you have written everything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Then the last form of the line equation that we'll look at is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, which is standard form. In this, what you need to remember is that slope is minus a by b.
Yeah.
Because you can put it in the y is equal to mx plus c form, right? Like this. You can make it like this. And clearly you get y-intercept is minus c by b and slope is minus a by b. So nothing much to talk about in this one. It is straightforward. Then now what we do is an important theory thing where find the length of a perpendicular from a point to a line. So let's say we have a line like this. It is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. And this is my point x1, y1, right? We have to
Yeah.
find out the length of this 9. What is this distance?
Yeah.
Length PQ. So do you know how to find that?
You mean the point, the
Not the
point
point.
line distance formula?
The point to line distance formula, yeah.
That
So far, where have you seen all of the stuff that you have read? Which book have you seen so far?
well, I saw the point to line distance formula like when I saw it when I was doing a problem. I didn't see it in a book.
Mhm.
I saw it when I was doing a problem on air, and I know it, I guess, since from there. I like looked it up, I guess, because I didn't know what it was. It's AX, it's model, I mean, it's absolute value of AX1 plus BY1 plus C, and or like over A square plus B square whole root.
Yeah. So this is the distance of x1, y1 to this. But what we will do is we will learn why. So why is it that, right? So we'll have to prove this. So, okay. So first we'll do it in multiple steps, the proof. So first of all, we'll do is, let's say you have a line like this. Ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. What I want you to find first for me, and this is my point P, x1 comma y1. Okay. So what I
Okay.
really need to find is this distance d. Okay. But before we can do that, what we really need to do is prove that d is equal to that thing that you just said, right?
Yeah.
But in order to prove that, the first step is find the perpendicular distance from origin 0, 0 to the line. So first we will find out this. What is this P? Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me how we will find this P. How can you find P? You are given the line equation. You have to find P.
C?
You have to find
Like
P.
P. Okay. Okay. Well, the origin, we can use the same formula the same thing we did with the intercept form for this, except we don't know the angle. Never mind.
We can do the formula that we did here, right?
Yeah.
So we should do that formula because that formula was, this was called perpendicular form or normal form. This was the best. This was actually the same setup that we are seeing right now, right?
Oh.
It was just that the alpha we don't know, right?
Oh yes, it was the same setup.
It's the same thing. P was from perpendicular from origin to the line, right?
Yeah.
So right now the line looks a little different, but if we can convert it into that form, if we make it look like that, then we can just say P will be whatever is on the right hand side, right?
Yeah.
So my line is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So what I will do is I will put ax plus by like this, and I'll put minus c this side, right?
Yeah.
Right now, it is not guaranteed that this is in the same form as this, because here I had cos alpha, sin alpha. Here I have some arbitrary constants a and b, right?
Yeah, but
No, a and b is not necessarily always you can make it cos alpha, sin alpha, right?
yeah.
Because a could have been 5, right? Or b could
Yeah.
have been minus 5. Then how? It cannot be cos alpha, sin alpha, right?
Right.
So the problem is that a and b have no restrictions on them. Therefore, right now it is not exactly like the form that we want, right? So
Yes.
what we will do is we will do a transformation that we have seen before in trigonometry, which is very common whenever you have a cos theta plus b sin theta, and I want to make it one angle, right? What do I do? One angle instead of sum of two different angles. I divide by root a square plus b square and all, no?
Yes.
Remember this thing, let a cos theta plus b sin theta, I can divide up and down and write it as root a square plus b square into a by root a square plus b square cos theta plus b by root a square plus b square sin theta, right? And
Yeah.
this is useful because this can be called cos alpha, sin alpha, and this can be called cos alpha, right? You understand what I'm saying? This can be now written as sin alpha plus
Yes.
theta, right?
Yes.
Because a by root over a square plus b square and b by root over a square plus b square are always less than 1. So
Yeah.
they can stand for sin alpha or cos alpha, whatever you want. And if one of them is sin alpha, the other one is cos alpha, right? Because the sum of their squares is 1, right?
Yes.
So basically, I will do the same thing here. And what I will say is I will divide this whole side by root over a square plus b square. And what that does for me is now I can say with confidence that a by root over a square plus b square is definitely something, some alphas cos alpha, right? We can call
Yes.
this as some cos alpha. I don't know alpha, but it will be some alpha's cos. And then this will be the sign of that, right?
Yep.
So now it fits perfectly the formula that we had earlier, right? Normal form. We have x cos alpha and y sin alpha is equal to something, right?
Yes.
So the length of this perpendicular is coming out to be, we'll say length of perpendicular must be, because this form we know, length of perpendicular must be minus c by root over a square plus b square, right?
Yes.
And this is what? This is the length of the perpendicular from 0, 0. Length of perpendicular from origin to the line.
Yes.
Okay, great. Then what we need now is not this, we need something else. We need length of perpendicular from P to the line, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now how will, so write this down. This is one formula that we have derived just now. We have said length of perpendicular from origin to the line ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 is coming out to be minus c by root over a square plus b square, right?
Yeah.
Have you written this one?
Oh yeah. P is equal to negative cy root a square plus b square. Yeah, write it down.
Okay, so now what we will do is we'll do a clever trick. Like I know this perpendicular, I don't know this perpendicular, right? I don't know this, and this is my point P. So the trick is shift your origin to point P. and make it a new y dash and x dash axis, right?
Yeah.
And now this P is my origin, okay?
Huh.
Okay, new origin. And this P was earlier called x1 comma y1, right?
Yes.
Now it will be called 0 comma 0. And old line equation was this. Now obviously since you have shifted the equation, there will be a new line equation, right?
Yeah.
In the new origin, right? Correct.
Yes.
So it is very easy to figure out that if any point was there, some point R, let's say, which was point called, let's say x comma y, this is in the old origin. So this is this one, R is with respect to this, right? X comma y.
Yeah.
Now R in with respect to new origin will be x dash comma y dash, which will be equal to x minus x1 comma y minus y1, right?
Yeah.
You understand why, right? Because now this distance
Yes.
is x minus x1, no? And this distance is y minus y1, right?
Yeah.
So any new coordinate x dash can be written as x minus x1, and any new coordinate y dash can be written as y minus y1, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So if my old equation was ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, what should be my new equation? It should, instead of x, I will replace x dash and all, right? X will
Yeah.
be equal to x dash plus x1 plus y will be equal to y dash plus y1, right? Plus c is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So this equation will be in the terms of x dash y dash, which is my new coordinate system, right? So it will be ax
Yeah.
plus by dash plus ax1 plus by1 plus c is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
This is my new line in new xy axis, right?
Yes.
This is x dash y dash axis. And now it is very nice because now in my new axis, this is the origin, right?
Yeah.
And distance from origin to the new line is what is being asked, right? And earlier we had derived what is the distance from origin to any line, right? It was minus c by root over a square plus b square. Correct?
Correct.
And now we can do this distance should be minus of whatever is the constant term in this equation, right?
Yeah.
Minus of ax1 plus by1 plus c by whatever is root over a square plus b square. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This distance is coming out to be this. Correct?
Correct.
So now you will say that maybe this quantity is positive or negative. My distance, however, should always be positive. So you should put a mod everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
The distance is equal to mod will remove the minus sign and it will be just mod of ax1 plus by1 plus c by root over a square plus b square, right?
Yes.
Do you understand what we did to derive it? What did we do? We used the normal form x cos alpha plus y sin alpha is equal to p. We use that form to find out what is p when your point is the origin. From origin, you are dropping a perpendicular on a given line, right?
Right.
That came out to be minus c by root over a square plus b square, right?
Mhm.
Then we said
Yeah.
that we need the distance from a random point to the line. Therefore, I will shift my origin to that point and I will get a new equation of the line, which will be different from the earlier equation, right?
Yeah.
How did I get the new equation? We know that any new point in the x dash y dash axis will be equal to x dash will be equal to x minus x1, y dash will be equal to y minus y1.
Yeah.
So therefore, x will be equal to x dash plus x1 and you place x and y in the original equation to get a new line equation, which looks like this. And once you have the new line equation, you also have the new origin. So apply the old formula, which is minus c by root over a square plus b square. And then you get the distance from the new origin to that new line, right?
Wait, so the coordinates of the random point are x dash y dash
in the new axis.
in the new axis.
In the old axis, it was called x comma y. Right? In the new
Okay.
axis, it is called x dash y dash because origin is different. No?
Yeah, and it's y minus y1 because y dash is x1 y1, right?
Y dash is equal to y minus y1. No?
Oh,
It is fairly obvious only. See this. Suppose this is my new axis, 1 comma 2 is my new origin, right?
yeah.
If we had an old point here, let's say 3 comma 4, right? This was 3 comma 4 was with respect to this. So what is it with respect to this? 3 comma 4 will become 2 comma 2, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously this distance is now 3 minus 1, 2, right? And this distance is 4 minus
Oh,
2.
I get it. I get it now. What you're saying with respect to the new axis.
With respect to the new axis, if the point is x dash y dash, and old axis it was xy, then a new axis was shifted to the point say h comma k, then you should always write x dash should be equal to x minus h and y dash should be equal to y minus k, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So then we can say that the old coordinates x was x dash plus h and old coordinate
Yes.
y was y dash plus k, right?
Yeah.
So if your old line equation was ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, your new line equation will be ax dash plus h plus by dash plus k plus c is equal to 0. So new equation will be ax
Yeah.
dash plus by
Yes.
dash plus ah plus bk plus c is equal to 0.
Yeah.
This is what we have done, right? So this is called translation of coordinates. Like you have moved your axis someplace else. So obviously everything will change a little bit. Your position of each
Yep.
point will look different. Lines will look different, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now we have found length of perpendicular from a point to a line. Now the next thing to do is find the angle between two straight lines. And equations of the
Yes.
lines are given between two straight lines. Equations of
Yeah.
the lines are y is equal to m1x plus c1 and y is equal to m2x plus c2. Okay.
Yep.
So if we draw the figure here, let's say one line is like this, one line is like this. This is, let's say, y is equal to m1x plus c1. And this is y is equal to m2x plus c2. Right? Now, what we need is this angle. Right?
Yes.
Angle between the straight lines. This angle
Yes.
or this angle. Either of these two we need to find out. Right?
Yeah.
So, because we know the slopes, right? So we know slope of this line is m1. So this angle, let's call it tan theta 1. That should be m1, right? Like, because slope of a line means what? Angle that the line makes with the positive x-axis, take the tan of that, right? Right.
Yeah.
So this angle, if we call theta 1, tan theta 1 should be your m1. And this angle, if we call theta 2, we should say tan theta 2 should be your m2, right?
Yeah.
So now consider that if I want this theta that is equal to vertically opposite this theta, right? And
Yes.
this triangle, this is exterior angle is equal to sum of interior opposite angles, right?
Yes.
So you should have theta 2 is equal to theta plus theta 1, right?
Yes.
So therefore, your theta is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to find theta, so let's now write a formula. Take tan on both sides. Tan theta is equal to tan of theta 2 minus theta 1, which is equal to tan theta 2 minus tan theta 1 by 1 plus tan theta 2 tan theta 1. right?
Yes.
So we can now write this as m2, tan theta 2 is m2 minus m1 by 1 plus m1 m2, right?
Yeah.
So this is your formula that gives you the angle between two straight lines in terms of their slopes, right?
Okay.
So if
Wait, so for the tan times theta 2 minus theta 1, right? You used,
use tan A minus B formula,
okay.
right?
Yeah, okay.
That we have seen already in trigonometry. No?
Yeah, okay, tan A minus, yeah, okay.
Then we are writing tan theta 2 and tan theta 1 as m2 and m1 respectively.
Okay.
So we get this. Now from here we can deduce several things. We can say that if m1 is equal to m2, then tan theta is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
Which means theta is equal to 0 or angle between the lines is 0. So that doesn't make sense because lines cannot intersect and make 0 angle. That means the lines are actually parallel.
Yes.
If they intersect, they will make some angle which is non-zero, no?
Yeah.
So if they don't intersect ever, then they make 0 angle, right?
Yeah.
So lines are parallel. The condition is theta is equal to 0, which means m1 should be equal to m2. Slopes are equal, right?
Yes.
And if m1 m2 is equal to minus 1, what happens is 1 plus m1 m2 is 0, right?
Yeah.
So the denominator becomes 0, therefore tan theta tends to infinity, and we know theta is pi by 2. Then tan 90 tends towards infinity, right?
Yes.
So if the angle between the straight lines is 90 degree, then we have m1 m2 should be equal to minus 1, right?
Yes.
So we are getting the conditions for parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Perpendicular line condition is m1 m2 should be minus 1. Parallel line condition is m1 is equal to m2, right?
Right.
So these two things are very important. And we also know that between any two random lines, now I can find the angles, right? By doing this, tan theta should be equal to m2 minus m1 by 1 plus m1 m2. Correct?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Then now what we can say is if there is a line like this, ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
And I want to make a parallel line to it, parallel line, right?
Yes.
So we can say that parallel line is a1x plus b1y plus c1 is equal to 0, but a1 by minus a1 by b1 should be equal to minus a by b, right? So
Yes.
a1 by b1 is equal to a by b. Therefore, a1, let's say this both things are equal to k. So a1 is equal to k b1, right? And
Yes.
a is equal to kb, right?
Yeah.
So we can write this equation as kbx plus by plus c, and this equation as kb1x plus b1y plus c1, right?
Yeah.
And dividing by b here, you'll get kx plus y plus c by b is equal to 0. And dividing by b1 here, you'll get kx plus y plus c1 by b1 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that if you write, even if you write two different looking lines, right? If they are
Yes.
parallel, they will start looking like same x and y coefficients, right?
Yeah.
And only thing different will be c1 and c2, right?
Yes.
So no matter if you, even if you write it as a1 b1 c1, right, totally different constants, even then if they are parallel, because m1 is equal to m2, you will get that you could have written it just like this. If one line is ax plus by plus c1 is equal to 0, other line will be ax plus by plus c2 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah. So The reason I was doubting it earlier was because I knew that A and B in the standard forms are x and y intercepts, and you can't have the x and y intercepts same for like any line unless it actually coincides with it. So that's why I was kinda.
But because constant term is different, intercepts are not the same,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So
Yeah.
here we are I'm just showing you that if they are parallel, you can say A and B are same. Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing different will be constants, right? And
Yes.
now what we can say is we can find out the uh, distance between two parallel lines. The formula that I told you in the beginning of the class, right? So if this line is ax plus by plus c1 is equal to 0, and this line is ax plus by plus c2 is equal to 0, what we need is the perpendicular distance between them, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
however, what we can do is find out the perpendicular distance from origin to one of them and origin to the other one and subtract, right?
Yes.
So from 0, 0, let's say 0, 0 is my point. Perpendicular from 0, 0 to first line. That distance will be mod of, put 0, 0 in this, you will get mod c1 by root over a square plus b square, right?
Yes.
And perpendicular from 0, 0 to second line, you would get mod c2 by root over a square plus b square, right?
Yeah.
So then obviously the distance between them will be the difference of these. So it will be mod of c1 minus c2 by root over a square plus b square, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that was the formula that we used in the beginning in the first question, if you remember, right? Makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Then some other things that you need to know are, if you know 3 points, what is the area of the triangle? 3 points P, x1, y1, Q, x2, y2, and R, x3, y3. The area of triangle PQR. There is a formula for this. Obviously, there are ways to do it. If you know all the 3 points, technically you know all the three side lengths, right?
Yeah.
So, and you can always do Heron's formula, but that will be super long. We want a nicer way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Correct, because you'll have to do distance formula many times, right? You don't want to do Heron's formula here, right?
Yeah.
So, a nicer way would be this method. I will just tell you the trick. This is called the shoelace formula. Shoelace formula. If you might have seen it somewhere, I don't know. So to find the area of the triangle between when the points are known, right? So it is
Yeah.
given by half of mod of some quantity that we are going to see. This quantity, this sum. So what is this quantity? Here you write x1, y1 for any vertex. Start off with any vertex, write x1, y1, then x2, y2, then x3, y3, and then repeat the first vertex once. Okay.
And I know cross multiply.
So,
Oh, shoelace formula. I've seen this application a lot of times.
So you have to use this shoelace formula. It's nice. So what you have to do is write first vertex, second vertex, third vertex, and repeat the first vertex once, right? And
Yeah.
then multiply like this, as if you're tying the shoelaces. Multiply x1 with y2, x2 with y3, x5 with x3 with y1, add all three, and then subtract the opposite shoelaces like this.
Yeah.
So basically it will be x1 y2 plus x2 y3 plus x3 y1 minus x2 y1 minus x3 y2 minus x1 y3. This quantity is inside an absolute value sign, because area you want to come out as positive, right?
Yes.
And then take half of that. That is the area of the triangle. Okay. So
Yes.
we can confirm that in a one or two cases. Let's do a couple of cases where we can confirm the area geometrically also. So let's say we have a situation like this. This is 0, 0, and this is 3, 0. And let's say this height is 2. So it is 3 by 2, 2, right? It's an isosceles triangle, I'm saying. Okay. Correct.
Yeah.
I have just drawn from the midpoint, I have drawn height 2. So area of the triangle is obviously half into 2 into 3, right?
Yes.
So area is equal to 3. Now what we will do is we'll confirm whether it works out from your shoelace formula or not, right?
Yeah.
We'll say half, and for the mod we'll do, and in the shoelace thing I will write, let's start off with 3 by 2, 2. Second one is 3, 0. Third one is 0, 0. And then I repeat the first one, 3 by 2, 2, right?
Yeah.
And then you multiply like this, and like this. Notice that all three are 0 here, right?
Yeah.
So it is 0, and then you subtract this and this and this, right? So you have to subtract this 3 into 2, 6, right? Everything
Yeah.
else is 0. So it is just mod of half of this, right? So it is 3, which is what we got here also, right?
Yes.
So you can pick any vertex, start with it, write down the 3 vertices, then repeat the fourth one, repeat the first one again, and then do this shoelace sort of 3 additions and 3 subtractions. Okay.
Okay.
So that is your area of a triangle. Notice that if you were given the line equation here, right, and you were given, let's say, this point and this point, you could have done it in a different way also. Like if you know P and Q and R, suppose I was given the base here, right? Length is 4 units, and I know this point, and I know the line equation, right?
Yes.
Then I could have just dropped a perpendicular from P to the line, right? And I would have written half of that length of P into the base 4, right?
Yeah.
Drop the perpendicular means I know the formula for the length of this perpendicular, right? From a point to a line.
Yes.
So there are other ways to do it also, but remember the shoelace formula method, that is very useful. Okay.
Yeah.
From there, we also get another different condition for collinearity of 3 points. Different condition for collinearity of 3 points. So let's say you have 3 points x1, y1, x2, y2, and x3, y3. And we want to say that three points are collinear. Then what we can say is that area of triangle PQR must be 0.
Yeah.
Because if it is 0, then it means that PQR are on a line, right?
Yeah.
If Q was not on the line, you would have some non-zero area, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So area of triangle PQR you can do by shoelace method, and you can say that if the area is 0, the points are collinear, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then there are 2, 3, 4 things left, but I don't want to do that right now. What I will do is I'll give you some questions. Most of the important things we have seen, like whatever you will need, like 90% of the time. We will do a little more theory in the next class, but right now let's do some questions. Okay, for straight lines. Okay. Question 1 is ABC is a variable triangle such that A is 1, 2, B and C lie on y is equal to x plus lambda. Lambda is a variable. Then locus of the orthocenter of triangle ABC. Here, I don't know if you know the meaning of the word locus. Do you know locus, what it means?
Yeah, it's like,
Path.
huh?
Path of a point. Basically, what is the condition on x and y? Where x and y is a point, random point, right? So locus of the orthocenter means what are the places where the orthocenter can be, right?
Yeah,
So what you need to do here is
yeah, okay.
try to figure out where the orthocenter can be and find a condition on that, right? So let's
Yeah,
just draw the triangle. ABC is a triangle like this, and A is 1, 2, A, B, C. And we know B and C lie on one particular line, right?
yes,
We have to find locus of orthocenter. So, okay. Correct. So now orthocenter is what? Orthocenter is perpendicular like this from 1, 2 to this, right?
yes,
So B and C lie on a line. So the equation of BC is this, right? Y is equal to x plus gamma,
yes,
right? So
yeah,
now think about it. I know that orthocenter is somewhere here, right?
yes,
So let's say orthocenter is the point h comma k, right?
yeah,
Or h comma k is fine. If orthocenter is h comma k, then it lies on O is on perpendicular to y is equal to x plus lambda, right?
yeah,
O is on a line which is perpendicular to BC, right?
yes,
So if the slope of BC, here slope of BC is 1, so slope of the line, the altitude line should be -1, right? Slope of this line should be minus.
yeah,
So if you know the slope of this line and you know one more point on this line, which is 1, 2, right?
yes,
Then you know the equation of this line, no?
yes,
You know slope and a point, right? So equation of the line should be y minus 2 is equal to -1 into x minus 1.
oh, yes,
So therefore you get y plus x should be equal to 3, right? This is my equation of line through O, right?
yes,
So we can say that locus of orthocenter of the triangle is line this, right? Because orthocenter always lies on this line, right?
yes,
Are you understanding what we are saying? How we got everything?
yeah, yes,
Okay. Then one more question. Let's see. This one is, let ABC be a triangle. Let A be 1, 2. Y is equal to x is the perpendicular bisector of AB and x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0 is the angle bisector of angle C. right?
Yes.
If the equation of BC is ax plus by minus 5 is equal to 0, find a plus b. Okay, so think about it, take some time, think about it, there is no rush. It is not very easy, this one, so you will have to think carefully. And through this question, we will actually derive one more property. So let's say this is A, B, T. No, actually, I will draw it like this. This is C and A and B. Now, there is an angle bisector here, right?
Yeah.
Angle bisector is like this. And there is a angle bisector of angle C and perpendicular bisector of AB, right?
Yeah.
Those don't have to be the same lines, right?
Correct.
Okay. My figure is really bad. I will not draw the perpendicular bisector. We have C here, A here, B here. I need to find finally equation of BC, right?
Yeah.
So probably I need points on B and points on that line, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So A is given 1, 2, and yeah. So we are given perpendicular bisector here. So this is y is equal to x, right?
Yes.
So we know that this is equal to this, no?
Yes.
Correct. So
Correct.
if you see, B is the reflection of A in y is equal to x line, right?
Yes.
Because it is perpendicular bisector, so it's a mirror and this is the reflection, right?
Yes.
So when you take reflection of anything in y is equal to x line, what you will get is x comma y. If x comma y gets reflected, it will become y comma x.
Yes, it will.
Think about it. It's like this. Y is equal to x line is like this. Any point here, let's say 1, 2, 1 should become 1, 2 here, right?
Yeah.
What we will learn is in general how to find reflection of a point across any line. Okay.
Okay.
Because right now we know that
It
y
becomes 2, 1.
this is becoming 2, 1, but this is a special kind of line. It's a nice line where xy becomes yx, right?
Yes, it is.
In general, it will not be so nice. So we'll have to find out how to find reflection. And similarly, now, if you think about it, let's rub off this. If you think about the angle bisector, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So the angle bisector. Now, what we know is a point on this is also equidistant on this, right? So if it is angle bisector, right?
Yes.
So any point on this can be flipped like this and it will become a point here, right? Like think of this triangle is congruent, no, if it is angle bisector, right?
Yeah.
So you can draw a perpendicular from it to angle bisector and flip it, and you'll get another point here, A dash, right? Which will be the reflection of this on across the angle bisector, right?
Yeah.
You're understanding what I'm saying? See,
Yeah.
let's say there is an angle bisector like this, right? This is angle C. So there is a point A here, and what I'm saying is there will be a length of perpendicular from this to this and this to this are same, right?
Yeah.
Because these triangles are congruent, right?
Yes.
So if you flip this like this, it will give you an A dash point here, right?
Yeah.
So what we can say is A dash is the reflection of A across the angle bisector, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Angle bisector acts as the mirror and the reflection is across that, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you can draw up a perpendicular like this, passes through this perpendicular, right? So,
Yeah.
so what we need again is if I have a point and a line, can I find the reflection across it, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So in general, how would you do that? So let's say we have a line like this, ax plus by is plus c is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
And let's say a point is some x1 comma y1. I want to find the reflection across it, right?
Yes.
So since this line is supposed to be the mirror, this has to be 90 and this has to be equal to this, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we know that the slope of this has to be perpendicular to the slope of the line given, right?
Yeah.
So we can get one equation saying y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, which is slope of this multiplied by minus a by b should be equal to minus 1.
Yeah.
And we can also say that if p and p dash are reflections of each other, the midpoint lies on this line, right?
Yeah.
The midpoint of p and p dash will be x1 plus x2 by 2, comma y1 plus y2 by 2.
It also lies on a perpendicular line.
That is obvious, but that will not give us a new condition because we have already done midpoint. No?
Yeah.
When you write midpoint, it's already lying on the line here. That will not give us anything new. But it lies on the line ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? The midpoint here, this midpoint lies on this line, no?
Yes. Yeah.
So you'll get a into x plus x1 plus x2 by 2 plus b into y1 plus y2 by 2 plus c should be 0. Right?
Yes.
That is your second condition. This is your first condition. And from solving these two, you should be able to find x1 and x2, right?
Yes.
In this particular problem, what we have is the angle bisector is given to us. Angle bisector is x minus 2y plus 1 is 0, right?
Yeah.
And one point A is given to us, 1 comma 2, right? And
Yeah.
this was angle bisector of angle C, right?
Yeah.
You have to find reflection of A on angle bisector, and you can say that that reflection point lies on the other side, right? BC, on the BC, right?
Yeah.
Because A, B, C. So this is C, this is A, this is B. If you take reflection across angle bisector, it should be on this, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So I have to find reflection of 1 comma 2 on the line this one. So let's call that final point A dash x comma y, right? Correct.
Yeah.
And I will find the x comma y by using the property that first of all slope of A dash will be perpendicular to the slope of the bisector, right?
Yes.
You can say y minus 2 by x minus 1 multiplied by slope of bisector is 1 by 2 should be equal to minus 1, right?
Yeah.
So you get y minus 2 is equal to minus 2x plus 2. So you get 2x plus y is equal to 4, right?
Yeah.
And secondly, the midpoint of these 2 points, which is x plus 1 by 2 and y plus 2 by 2, lies on the bisector, right?
Yes.
So you'll get x plus 1 by 2 minus 2 times this, so it is y plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 0. So you get x plus 1 minus 2y minus 4 plus 2 is 0. So that becomes x minus 2y plus 3 minus 4. So minus 1 is 0, right?
Yes.
So we can say 4x plus 2y minus 8 is 0, and add these two, you get 5x minus 9 is 0. So x is equal to 9 by 5, right? And if you put
Yeah.
x is equal to 9 by 5 here, you get 18 by 5 plus y is equal to 4. So y is equal to 20 by 5 minus 18 by 5, which is 2 by 5. So what we get is 9 by 5 comma 2 by 5, right?
Yes.
9 by 5 comma 2 by 5 is on BC, right?
Yeah.
And earlier we also saw that the reflection of A, which was 1 comma 2 across the perpendicular bisector y is equal to x, will be 2 comma 1, which should obviously be C, right? Which should obviously be B, right?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
So there were actually 2 lines here about which you are doing 2 reflections. One was perpendicular bisector, and that should give you the vertex here, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing was, if it was angle bisector, right? Angle bisector, that should give you a different point here, A dash, right?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
Both the points A dash and B are on the same line. So now you have 2 comma 1 and 1 9 by 5 comma 2 by 5 lying on BC, right?
Yeah.
So you can find the equation of BC, right?
Yes.
The equation of BC will be simply y minus 1 is equal to 1 minus 2 by 5. So 3 by 5 by 2 minus 9 by 5. So 1 by 5 into x minus 2. So it will be y minus 1 is equal to 3x minus 6, and 3x minus y, 3x minus y minus 5 is 0. So your ax plus by minus 5 is 0. So this was given in the question. So a and is 3 and b is minus 1. So a plus b is 2, right?
Yes.
So slightly difficult because you didn't know the reflection process, but now you know how to do reflection, right?
Right.
So given any point and any straight line, you should be able to find reflection of that point across the straight line and find the other point, right?
Right. Yeah.
This is a very important idea because in many geometry questions and in many situations, you will come across things where something is reflected across and you have to find something about it. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you know the line equation, then you should be able to do the reflection. Okay.
Okay.
Line equation, which line equation? The mirror line. If you know the mirror line and the point here, then you should be able to get the P dash, right?
Yeah.
How do we get that? We say slope of this is perpendicular to this, right? And we say
Yeah.
that midpoint of P and P dash also lies on this, right? Midpoint.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Then now there are 2-3 things left. We need to do bisectors. We need to do family of straight lines through a point. Straight lines through a point. Then we need to do equation of pair of straight lines. Pair of straight lines. So these things, what we will do is we will cover possibly in the next class. Okay.
I just have a question.
Tell me.
It's about the point of I mean, the point to line
Hmm.
thing you did.
Mhm.
In the point of to line, I thought I understood it, but I'm actually confused about that. The first part in which you applied the in which you divided by root of a square plus b square.
We divided because we want to make it look like x cos alpha plus y sin alpha is equal to p, right?
Yeah.
This form we had seen earlier, no? There p was
Yeah, I know
from
that. Yeah. We
origin.
saw that in the intercept form.
Yeah. So why are we dividing? We are dividing because right now this is not in this form. Because here it is a and b, here it is cos alpha and sin alpha. Cos alpha, sin alpha is less than 1. This is not necessary to be less than 1, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot say directly cos alpha is a and sin alpha is b.
Right.
So you have to divide, because if you divide by root over a square plus b square both sides,
Yeah.
then you are guaranteed that no matter what a and b you pick, no matter what a and b you started off with here, this will always be some cos alpha and this will always be some sin alpha.
But what makes a square plus b square so special to do that?
Because a by a root over a square plus b square, like this is hypotenuse of a triangle where a is like this and b is like this, no?
Oh yeah, okay. Makes sense.
This is bigger than a, no?
Yeah.
And this is bigger than b also. So you're dividing with
Yes.
something bigger, making the thing less than 1 so that you can say it is cos.
Okay, makes sense.
You have just divided by equal things on both sides so that you can call this as a cos alpha, and this, if this is cos alpha, you'll see that this square plus this square is 1, so this is sin alpha.
Right.
Then this fits the whole equation, and now you can say that this part should be my p,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that is the idea. You're trying to match it and make it look like the normal form, this form, where this was the length of perpendicular from origin to that point, to the line, right?
Yep.
Once you got it in that form, we knew the length of perpendicular from origin to a given line. After that, it was about shifting the origin to the new point, right?
Yeah, which I understood.
Okay. Anything else?
Um,
Well,
I think
you'll do one more
yeah.
class. What you should do is do more problems from your AMCs and all past AMCs and
Yeah.
the straight line and coordinate geometry problems. And we will do straight lines in the next class. It will be done. So
Yeah.
we can see, like, I can also see past years and AMC papers, and we can solve questions from those topics in the next class.
Yeah, and in the last question we did, right, the second question, we, for the angle bisector, you reflected A over that line onto BC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we are saying is D is like this, A is like this, B is like this, and this is angle bisector. So what I'm
Yeah.
doing is I'm doing reflection of A over this line will lie on this.
Yeah. Okay.
What I'm saying is this 90 and this equal, if you have to do, then obviously this triangle will become congruent, no? Theta, theta, right?
Yeah.
So then A dash has to lie on this. So A dash has to lie on BC, right?
Yeah. Okay.
If A dash lies on BC, you know one point on BC and A reflection on perpendicular bisector, right?
Yes.
Would give you B, right? A's reflection across
Wait.
perpendicular bisector gives you B, right?
Yeah.
So A was given as 1, 2. Perpendicular bisector equation was given. So from there, I got 2, 1 is B, right?
Oh no, I got the perpendicular bisector point. That was easy to, but wait, one thing I'm not getting is how you're so certain that A dash lies on BC.
It is certain.
Is it because that line is already angle bisector?
Yeah, that's why. Because this is theta, theta, and like, let's join this line, perpendicular line, and what we have to prove is that let's not assume this, okay?
Yeah.
Because then if we don't assume, then we have to prove that it is half-half, right? It should
Yeah.
be reflection, right?
Yeah.
So let's just draw a perpendicular line from A and make it cut this point A dash, right?
Yeah.
So then even without assuming that this is equal to this, as long as this is 90 and this is theta, you know similar triangles and one side is common, right?
Yeah.
It is congruent, no?
Okay.
If it is congruent, then we know that this is equal to this now, right?
Yeah.
That means that A dash was reflection of A across this, right?
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
So basically what we are getting is we wanted equation of BC and nothing was given. We found 2 points on BC by doing reflection across one's angle bisector and one's perpendicular bisector, right?
Yeah.
For the same A was reflected across perpendicular bisector to give B, and A was reflected across angle bisector to give A dash. And then we said A dash and B lie on BC, so now we can find equation of BC, right?
Wait. To prove that they're congruent, you used ASA?
No, we used similar triangles first, right? Because 90 degree
yeah.
is theta theta, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And one side is common.
Okay.
One side is
But
common
how do you know? But how do you know that thing that they're perpendicular?
because I draw a perpendicular.
Oh.
By construction, I'm saying, see, let's say this is 90, this is angle bisector, this is A.
Yeah.
I know this is
Yeah.
theta, this is theta, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to draw by construction a line perpendicular to the angle bisector, cutting it at A dash, right?
Okay.
Now I can prove immediately that this triangle is congruent to this triangle.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because obviously it is similar because theta and 90, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And one side is common, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ratio of the sides is 1:1, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it is congruent, then that implies that this is equal to this, right?
Yes.
And that implies that A and A dash are reflections of each other across this internal angle bisector, right?
Okay.
Right? Because 90, 90 and
Yes.
equal, right?
Yes.
Now you understand.
Yes.
So from A, an equation of angle bisector, I have found A dash by doing reflection. And once I know A dash, and similarly by perpendicular bisector, I found B, right? By doing reflection.
Yes.
So now I know 2 points on BC and I found the equation of BC, right?
Yeah.
That is the idea. Anyway, we'll finish off the theory. 2-3 things are there and we'll do more problems. So you should go forward and find out any other questions that you are struggling with in all of this coordinate geometry stuff. We'll discuss.
Okay. Okay. See you next class. Bye.